what are some of the big pain points that you see on both sides on each of them?
Yeah, I think on the Web3 side, it's constantly battling this idea of feature bloat. A lot of technical people are in love with the keys that they're building, but they don't realize that consumers need doors to unlock. And so if the consumer doesn't want to enter that room, they don't really care about the key, special key. It's a cleaner key, it's more efficient, it's made out of brass. Like I don't care, right? And so that's educating on a, product positioning, consumer psychology level. Whereas in the Web2 side, they've largely figured that out, and that's why they're giants in their industry. But it's a very different way of working. And think about, let's say, CNN or Time Warner, and telling them, "Hey, social media is going to be this thing." Like, what do you mean? I own like 90% of the cable network and TV. Imagine trying to convince them that like digital profiles from around the world and these things called influencers will end up on your TV screen because it's driving the news. It's that kind of philosophical realignment of what technology is bringing.
So it's really like disruption insurance, kind of.
Yeah,
For
yeah, exactly. Exactly. A lot of our clients are in the digital innovation department where they're or emerging tech. And they're like, okay, well, we have our legacy business, but this thing has the potential to completely upend how we work. Let's get a little closer. And so we help with that.
That's awesome. So what other, I guess, general technologies are you or shifts are you seeing at the level of what social media has done?
Yeah, there are some notable case studies that have happened the last 6 months or so. The one that I always point to is FWB partnered with, I think it was Remy Martin or Hennessy, over last year's Art Basel. And basically, what they did is instead of hiring an agency, they hired FWB. And FWB and this liquor brand sold membership tickets to a luxury Web3 club, and their first event happened to be at Art Basel. Well, the notable thing is instead of one company paying the other, there was a token rev share.
Hmm.
So 34% of the NFTs that were sold were automatically sent over to FWB's community treasury. So it's like a very different view of how a brand can activate a community, because if the community has a shared upside, they also have kind of a shared voice in the table, which is, I think, different from I think some how some services work.
Yeah, that's interesting. So it's like automating partnerships using smart contracts and blockchain technology. But like before that could even happen, there's the foresight that FWB is a thriving community. It's one of the earliest communities
Totally.
out there. And there wasn't a whole lot of structure other than being intentional, being referred, being interviewed when you came in.
Yeah,
It's really thriving. Are you a member of Friends with Benefits?
I am a city member, not a global member.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's pretty cool. I've had some friends that have gone in there and been able to generate some business, right? Just by virtue of meeting people through there. And I think that's the big picture. The question is, how many can we have, right? I hope that there's a ton,
Yeah,
but I don't know how many times that's been repeated.
yeah. I think it really. I do think that smaller communities probably will operate more effectively. It's just how people work.
Hmm.
So I think about Web2 analogies. So, in New York, you've got these huge mom communities, which are
Hmm.
largely oriented towards personalities like influencers.
Hmm.
Um, and then you have smaller Facebook groups or IG groups that are by neighborhood. You have Upper East Side moms, Tribeca moms, Brooklyn moms by neighborhood.
Jewish
And
moms
it's,
of Atlanta.
yeah, it's like Atlanta, very specific kind of recipe that needs to be shared, on Shabbat. So I
Yeah.
think, yeah, having that level of specificity, I think, is important, because that really unlocks community quickly.
Is there just brought up a really interesting point? Is there anybody trying to enable these localized Facebook groups to leverage Web3 technology to actually like make stuff happen together?
That's a great question. I don't know of any, but that's a huge opportunity. That's an
Yeah.
enormous opportunity.
Maybe we cut this part out of the show and go build it.
Yeah, totally, totally.
Because you got to
That is
think
a huge,
they've already got the mindset, they've got the shared values, they've all met each other in there. Look, is there a curation issue? Maybe sometimes, but that's why there's curators, right? Like my wife is in charge of our neighborhood's called Old Fourth Ward. Like she's in charge of that, and if someone comes in trying to post some, I don't think I'd call it shilling in this sense, but something to the equivalent of shilling about something. She's like, no, it's not good. It's not going to happen. That
yeah,
doesn't
not
help the
cool.
community get stronger.
Right.
Hmm. Hmm. That is very interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
totally.